gotta get in here sometime to do these wheels, but I did though. Four or five of these packs of file. It'll say 325, quarter, 3/8. That's your small 3/8 LP Pico. You see it right there. There's always stuff to fix. There's always stuff being broken. I'm the expert resident parts breaker. So we've gone over sharpening before. We're going to sharpen our yard sale saw. Move our camera. There's a big pile back there, and there's like 3 other big piles back there. And just too much going on. Well, now, and you know, there's machinery, which it's not even mine, so basically I don't have to shoulder that expense. But a lot of my job here, I do have a job here. I don't only rent and carve and just make a mess. It's my job primarily to grease and maintain stuff. Now I'm just giving these a touch up. I'm not modifying, I'm not changing anything, I'm not making the chain to perform better than it was performing before. I'm just still working with untuned, unmodified chain. And you can see with that horrible manual oiler on this saw. I mean, the reality of it is, there's videos out there. There's a guy saying he's making $500 an hour chainsaw carving. He just started. He just started a few months ago or whatever it was, maybe a year ago. And that's the thing with the internet. Don't believe everything you see, especially when that guy's, he doesn't know how to sharpen a saw. It's obvious he doesn't. His saws are slow. He's not making $500 an hour. He might have made one carving, and I got $500 for the carving. Well, good for you. That's awesome and everything, but that's not $500 an hour for your entire career. That's not, you're not going to be making that every day. There's days you won't make any money because you got to sharpen saws or you got to get logs. Quarter to 3/8 Pico, 325. Now, if you use the 325 on a 3/8 low profile, it's going to make a bigger radius gullet in the tooth. Sometimes that's beneficial. Sometimes I actually like it in a lot of ways myself. I use a little bit bigger file than the chain calls for, and I get a nicer feel out of it. But it depends on the chain and the setup. Here we're still using the department, I call it the department store crappy chain. I haven't trimmed the rakers. I haven't trimmed any of these skips down. I call them skips because basically what they do is as your teeth get dull and chipped, and your chain will tend to want to wobble, and you might, as your teeth get dulled and chipped too, your saw is gonna want to dive a little bit and skip around. Well, these keep everything on the level for that unknowing saw user that's got their teeth all beat to crap and burnt. The other thing that they do is they burn the teeth. So they kind of serve two purposes: is to A, make you have to sharpen your chain a lot more so that you buy more chains more quickly, and B, they do kind of keep the saw straight, still running straight, so you can keep burning it into the ground. And that's all I'm going to do to sharpen this thing and liven it up a little bit. And I always like the pull technique. Pull out of the middle of the tooth. You know, if I'm going on this guy, it's going to be push from my side. Now what I'm looking for here is right on the very edge of my file. I'm looking for, you'll see a little tiny shadow, a little bit of darkness there right off of the end of the tooth. If it's not properly sharp, you're going to see that. Once it's properly sharp, you'll see a fine line. You won't see any shine on top of the tooth. Any shine on top of the tooth means you got a burr. That means that you're starting to round off the chrome on the top of the tooth. Every tooth is chrome plated. Remember, we've talked about that, the whole chrome plating deal. This is why I like to go from inside to outside, because it keeps directionally that angle on the tooth. It pulls the softer metal into the harder metal, like it combs that softer metal over the harder metal, which gives you that, in my belief, it gives you a little tiny bit stronger edge and sharper edge. And you see, I just used one hand on the file. You can use both hands. If I see guys do it this way, you know, they like to do it this way. You clamp it in a bench and you do it that way, that's fine. If that's what works for you, do it. This is how I like to do it. It's how I like to sharpen. I like to have that one hand, because one hand is going to give me a straighter pull. I'm not fighting myself. I'm not that coordinated. If you're coordinated enough to have two hands be more steady than one, go for it. Some people do better with two hands. That one hand messes up the other for me, because they're both trying to tell each other to do different things. So I don't want to change my angle. So what I'm basically doing is putting my finger just so the file touches it. It's not, my finger isn't holding the file up. It's just there. I put my finger so that as I come in, I have that guide, so that I'm pressing into the tooth with this finger and my thumb. See, I hold it a certain way. I like to hold it a certain way, whether I'm pushing or pulling, so that it's the same every time. And I'll show you, this is the fast I get the same feel. And the number of strokes doesn't matter as much as keeping everything in line. See, now I'm using my thumb as the stopper. And see, it's catching, which means we have a pretty sharp tooth. If it's catching hard like that, we have either a burr or a sharp tooth already. So that's basically how we do it. And of course, the saw is unplugged. And I'm just gonna go around, keep doing that. And you notice the chain's a little loose. I'm running it loose because for carving, it's the best thing. I put paint on the tooth that I started on. So I go all the way around, do both sides. And then when you get to that tooth, you're done. So yeah, pretty much it. It's simple. Simple. And this is, you know, remember we have these. The sharper the teeth are with this chain especially, and the more I believe that was 3. The more even the angle on the teeth is, the better this saw's going to cut. And you're going to see it. You'll see it as I'm cutting with it. This time it cuts about 10 times better. So yeah, let's go carve.